Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this is the fifth video of this .NET 6 and React.js CRUD example demo. So now let's implement the create operation. That means we need a new endpoint at the API for inserting the new record. And also at the React.js side, we need to have another React component and it should contain a form. Okay. So that when user submits the form, that form data should be posted to our API so that new record gets saved into our database. Okay, let's do that. Now in our API project, let's create a new action method which is of HTTP post type. Okay, let's go to our supervillain controller and let's add our action method like public async task and return type will be iAction result and it should be post. Okay, so since we are not applying any default route right for actions, right? We are adding only route for controller level. So how controller is understanding is based on the HTTP type, uh, verb type as well as name also. Name also should represent the type. Okay, post and same way we have to add here HTTP post type. Okay, for suppose if you are interested to give another name, it's good to give the route explicitly. Okay, so this is my post action method and I need to read the posted data, right? So here I am going to read my new supervillain post data from the UI. Okay. Okay. Now we have to attach this new data to our DB context. To do that, context dot and our class is supervillain class and there is a method like add. To that method we have to pass our payload. Now we are attaching the our new record to the supervillain table which is present in the context. Okay, now to save this to record to save this new record to database we have to call db context dot save changes async. So save changes async will just insert or update any record that was attached to the context. Okay, internally context will maintain a state like if something new is added, like a state is added. Okay, if it is contains added state, whenever we call save changes, then it will generate a insert query and that will execute against our SQL server. Okay, and finally, okay, I am returning same payload, whatever user sent, but user won't send ID value. Is supervillain have a property like ID, right? For new record, user cannot send the ID because this property is auto incremented in our SQL DB. Okay, but whenever we add to the DB context and save changes executed, okay, the new ID value will be implicitly added into this new supervillain by the context itself. That's why I am returning same response to the user. So if the user found the ID value in the response, that means the record is successfully added. Okay, so this is my endpoint. So if I save and check my Swagger, I am able to see new URL in the documentation. So if you go to the Swagger, you can see post supervillain, right? My API is successfully created. Okay. Now that is the thing we have to do at the API project. Next, we can move to our React.js. Now, what is the role of React.js? How to do now? It must create a form. Okay. Since our React.js is a component based, right? Every piece of code is separated into different components. So we have to create a new component. Okay, so all supervillains, if you observe all supervillains, we are displaying, right? So this is like a home page. Okay, Now supervillain, the form we are going to create is another component. That means that is another page, right? That is why I am going to create the this new React component in the pages folder. Okay, we have pages folder, right? So here I am going to create a new React component. Okay, I will name it like add supervillain.js, and we know that function and name of our supervillain. Okay, and let's return some imaginary tags and export the component. Default add supervillain. Now let's add some React Bootstrap form fields. Okay, so go to React Bootstrap website and go to the components, and here you can see the forms, right? So from here I can copy elements from here. Okay, so what I will do, just copy this form tag into our add supervillain component. Okay, and just above top of it, let me add a legend element for displaying as a header. Okay, so add a new super villain. This is for just header. Okay, and now we can see a form group that will contain say nothing but form control, right? Form here, form control on rendering, it will renders the text box. That is based on the type we declared. If you declared email, email text box will be rendered. If you declared number text box will be rendered. Okay, so let's fine tune this default what we have copied from the Bootstrap website. I don't want this form text. Okay, and this form type I want should be a text, normal text field I want, right? I don't want any placeholders, and this is my supervillain name, first text field I want, supervillain name, right? So change this for value because this ID control will be passed to everything. So form super villain name. Okay, just give a control ID that represents the form control. Okay, so this is for my super villain, right? So what I will do, I simply remove all these and just duplicate this one. One for uh, franchise, another one for powers, another one for URL. Okay, so this is for franchise. Okay, and franchise. Okay, and same way, this is for powers. But powers I don't want text field. Okay, I want text area. Okay, so to do that, either we can get from here text area. Okay, form controls, go to form controls, and here you can see for text area bit different. Like there is a attribute like as, and there we have to specify the text area. And here there is a one more property that is like rows, means our text area size. You can define your text area size, that is 3. So copy this and just replace this text form control. Okay, now my supervillain powers is a text area React Bootstrap field. Okay, and next one is URL, image URL. Okay, and image URL. Okay, this is my form finally. Now we have to read the data from the form which was entered by the user, right? So to do that, we can use ref attribute on each form control. So that ref attribute will give the reference to the instance of the control. Okay, and that ref attribute is not directly assigned to some string value. Okay, it should be assigned to a variable which is of type useRef. Okay, so first let's create. There are four fields, right? Four variables like constant variables which are of type instance of useRef. Okay, so let me create here constant supervillain name. So here we have to assign its value as userRef. UserRef. Okay, that loads from the React library, and you can pass initial value. Okay, whatever data here empty string, right? Empty is the initial value, and same way I can use franchise, and it will be also empty since our form should be empty, right? Initially, so everything will be empty. Hours userref and image URL userref. Okay, now we have created use ref instance variables and we should map them to the form fields. Okay, to map them to the form controls, we have to use a attribute like ref. Okay, and to this expression we have to map our variables. Okay, so supervision. Now what will happen means in JavaScript we can use this variable to access the control over this element. So once it is rendered, it is a text field, right? So the text field control will be available to this variable. Okay. Same way, let's do for all the variables. Okay. And this is for franchise. And this is for powers. Okay. And last thing, image URL. Okay. So far, so good. Now, thing I want to do is on button click, form data must be posted to the server API. Means we have to create a button on click event here, right? And also we have to create a function that should be mapped to that on click handler. Okay, first let's create the function. Okay, so function add villain handler. So just click handler, right? Same way I'm following that naming convention, but it is your wish how to create a function name. Okay, now here we have to call the API call, right? Post API call. So we know that in the Swagger we have post API call, right? So we can try out by sending this payload. Okay, you can test directly in the Swagger whether we are able to our API is success or not. Okay, since anyway I am going to do it from the UI side in the React project, right? I didn't test. I would directly test my API from the React.js application. But If you want, you can test once we create our API in the Swagger itself, we can test it. I also mentioned, right, Swagger is a testing tool. Okay. So far that is fine. Now let's call Axios for invoking the API call, and it contains previously for get request we used get method. Same way post request, right? This is we have to use post method, and the URL will be no change in the URL. You can get from the all supervillains. Okay, same URL. So based on the HTTP request type, the action method at the server gets executed. But here we have another property with the post that is nothing but the payload we have to pass. So payload is nothing but our form data. So let's prepare the payload. So where payload equal to, so here is the example payload. Let me copy this and paste it over here. Okay. And to this, we have to pass the data, new data, sorry, form data. So to read the form field values, we have variables like supervillain name, right? So we can use them. Okay, so now they are, so here no need to send ID. I can remove because ID will be automatically generated at the server once the record is inserted. Okay, now I want to read the supervillain name. For that, supervillain variable dot current. So this is going to give the current element dot value. Okay, like that I can read all the form data entered by the user. Current dot value. Okay, different hours dot current dot value and img current dot value. Okay, if you want, you can remove the double quotes here. Plain properties are also fine. So now I have my payload, so I can pass it as a second parameter. Okay, then okay, response, it will give some response. Okay, so what I want to do once the API is successful, I want redirect back to this page, where this page, so that my newly added record will be displayed on the UI. Okay, so that means we have to navigate back, right? So for that, I can use uh, I have to use React routing. Okay, but till now we haven't added the React routing. So let's install the React router DOM package. So React router DOM npm. If you search like this is the link. Okay, and copy this command. Okay, and open the terminal. One more terminal and paste the command and install the package. So my React router DOM package successfully installed. Now I can use the navigation configuration. Okay. Now here let me create a one more variable like const navigate, and its type will be use navigate that loads from React router DOM. Okay. So this is going to give the instance or control over the navigation. So now what I can do, I want to navigate to home page. For now, in our React application, there is no routing added, like a home page, a index page, something like that. There is no routing, right? In the next step, we are going to implement the page level routing. Okay. So for now, here what I will do, navigate and open braces, specify slash. Slash means just navigate back to home page. Nothing but uh, This is our home page, but we don't have other pages till now, but we are going to add them now. Okay, so I have implemented navigation also. Now what I have to do, I need to enable the page level routing in the Angular. For that, we know our page components render at app component, right? So here we can configure routing. So to configure route, instead of directly giving the component inside of the layout, what we have to do means we can use routes, okay, and route, okay, and this route contains path. So this is my home path, okay, and it's going to have another attribute like element, okay. So for this part, which type of component you have to specify, that must be added into this element, okay. So home page, we know we want to display all our superhumans, right? So simply assign it there, okay, that's it. Same way, we are going to add one more route, and here we have to specify like add supervillain is my new route name for our supervillain form. Okay. Now here I have to pass my new component, that is add supervillain, right? So this is how we have to configure the routing in the Angular application. So whenever user request home page, these elements get rendered on the page. Whenever user request add supervillain, this element will gets on the page. So this means this routing will not hit the server. Okay, this routing is internally within the Angular application. Browser will be dynamically changes the page content. Okay, so whenever user click on some button in the page for navigation, the page won't go for server. It is implicitly calls the internal React library JS and replaces the new content on the page based on the route. Okay, and also to work these routes perfectly, to make these routes work, these should be encapsulated around the browser router, so that we can do at the index.js. Okay, so instead of directly rendering app, okay, we can wrap it around browser router that also loads from React DOM. Okay, so that's it. We have successfully added our routing configuration into our React.js application. And I think I might forgot some imports. Here it should be routes. And also I have forgotten I have missed the namespace imports of the form component. Okay, so let's get them from the Bootstrap, React Bootstrap. So here, let's copy it from here. Okay, now let's check our React application. Okay, there is something missing. Button is not defined. Okay, in our form we have button, right? So we should have a button component, namespace, button namespace. So I think in the overview we will have. So copy this imports, button import. Okay, so paste it here and let's check our React application. Yeah, it is good. And let's wait for, yeah, our home page is loaded. Now for suppose, what is my new route to load? Add supervillains. Okay, paste and try to navigate. See, I got the form. But here is page is reloading, which is not good, right? That means we have to provide some button here. On clicking on that button, the page content should be replaced based on the route. Okay. So now on the home page, I will add a button like add. Okay, on clicking that button, user will be navigated to the form where he can add the new record, new item. Okay, let's go to our React application and go to our all villains component. Okay, here let me create a one more row, bootstrap row component. Okay, and here let's, so I want padding, margin top 2. Okay, so what I will do, I will use class name. We know, right? We cannot use class directly on this JSX. Okay, we have to use class name to apply the class rules. Okay, margin top 2, and my row should contain a column, right? So column component. Okay, and I want the content inside of this column at the middle, almost middle. For that, I can use MD. Okay, pass a array of span and offset, means both the sides leave 4 rows, so our content will render at middle. Okay, and now here I can add the button. So let me copy the button from here. Similarly, yeah, here one more thing I forgot, I haven't registered my add villain handler to the click event of the button. So first do that in the add component, I missed it. So on click, okay, pass the name of the function, that's it. Okay, now copy the button and go to our supervillain. Okay, now I have to specify here click function. Means I have to create a new function for navigation here, right? So here what I will do, here I want simple navigation functionality, right? So I won't create any explicit uh, function in the component. So what I will do, first let me initialize a variable for navigation, const navigate, that is equal to use navigate. Okay, so what I will do, here I will directly create a arrow function. So in that arrow function, I will use navigate variable and I will simply pass the route of our supervillain. So far I think okay, and it heading should be add a villain. Okay, so let's test it. Okay, I forgot to import the namespace. So here we have imported namespace, right? Copy that, add it here. Sorry for that, a few namespaces are automatically adding, few are not. Okay, so I got here, but my button is not middle. Why? Sorry, this is offset, not offset. I think it should fix it now. Okay, somewhat better. Now, if I click on this, please observe here this circle is there, right? It will only reload when the page request sent to the server. If I click on the button, it won't reload because request won't go to server. So that is single page how it works. Okay, the content inside of the page automatically replaced or repainted based on their routes internally with the help of JS code. Okay, so if I click on add villain, see I navigated to this form, but page is not reloaded. Means library itself helped me to render this component. Okay, now let me add some sample data so that we can create a new villain. So I have already saved some dummy data. Let me insert it. Okay, here is my dummy data. So name of my villain, DC franchise, and let's get his powers. Okay, and image URL. Okay, so this is my form. Now I want to submit. Let's check network call also, how we are posting our payload to the API call. So for that, open the developer tools and click on the network tab. So click on submit button. Sorry for that, entire page is reloaded. Now we have seen our entire page is reloaded, which I don't want to reload my page. So, okay. Two things I have to do. Button cannot be a submit. Okay. Change it to button type in both the places. Because submit means entire form get posted. Okay. So change it to type to button. Button means it just works for the click event. It won't submit the form. Okay. Now let me re-enter entire data. So that is one good error where we should not use button post. Button post will reload your entire page. So superpowers franchise DC and the image URL. Okay, now if I submit, I hope it won't reload, but just invokes the API call to insert the record. So click on submit. See, I'm navigated back to home page, and here you can see the newly added record rendering. And in network calls, you can found. So this is get, and this should be post. See, this is our post call, and this is our payload. And it is successfully saved or not, we can check by observing the this data. Okay, so here ID is coming. So that means we have successfully inserted our data into the database. Means we have successfully completed our create operation, right? Next, we are going to implement the update operation. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful information to you all. If you like the content, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.